Hi, fans of trumpet playing. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Preparatory Melodies. This is number 26. And this one is adagio, so it's quite slow. And what I want to talk about a little bit today is music interpretation. So I'm going to go ahead and play through it and then point out some things to listen for as you listen through the second time, or maybe I'll play it another time. We'll see. So let's go. Here we go. That's an interesting one. I hope you're kind of with that as you were listening. I want to point out some things. When we play in an ensemble, you have to have a unified idea. So that usually means that you have a conductor, or that someone in the ensemble, if you're playing a brass quintet, for example, whatever, is leading at one point or another. So you have a sense of how the music should move. And that means that you get to do this great thing called musical interpretation. And musical interpretation is basically using your imagination, letting the music speak to you, feeling what the music is communicating emotionally, and then figuring out how to let that come back out through your instrument. And this takes a long time to learn. First, you have to have your technical skills, and when you don't have the necessary technical skills, and you do have the ability to hear that music the way you'd like to perform it, it can be quite a frustrating experience. So if you're going through that, just do it one step at a time, one part at a time. So what I want to point out about what I did today, I did some things with the dynamics. I don't know how it'll come across with on the recording system that I'm using. But I took some risks. I went probably much greater than I would if I were performing it for an audience in a space. And that's because it's a much more intimate setting when, as I've said before, when the microphone is basically, your ear is 2 feet from the bell. You hear all the little details, and you don't get as much of the room sound in there. But regardless of that, one thing that you may have heard me do, I hope, if you have a good sense of, that the flow of the pulse, and this is a feel thing. It's not metronomic. It's like you're waiting for every beat to come in this slow tempo. Now, if you're listening carefully, I think you might have heard that I'm not always playing the rhythms perfectly literally, and I'm not always playing the tempo exactly even. I'm letting it be flexible. And I'll give you an example. We've worked on this a little bit before with the subdivision in slow music, so I'm going to do this at the beginning. So you hear how it's not. Now I'm going to do it again with the normal phrase. made you want to go on. You can hear the dee-dum-dum, hear the modulation coming. If you listen to the .8/16, I've been talking a lot about rhythmic accuracy. This piece needs rhythmic interpretation, as generally slow lyrical pieces do. And what I mean by this, it's very simple. It's not only that flexible subdivided tempo that we've talked about before, and that I just showed you. You may have noticed I'm not actually playing .8/16. I'm playing something else. And this is the cool thing that I want you to explore. So if I play up that passage from the piano to forte at the end of the first line, last two bars of the first line, if I play it without rhythmic interpretation, which is hard for me to do on this piece, by the way, I'm going to play it with even .8/16. Any way I play it, any way I pronounce it, without that inflection of the rhythm, without that suggestion of the rhythm, instead of the literal rhythm, it just kind of sits there. It doesn't do very much. So there are two things happening in that two bars. I'm actually accelerating. Very slightly, dum, da dum, da dum, da da. So it's just leaning a little bit in the direction of going faster. And then of course when I get to the G, where I'm sustaining it, I'm relaxing, ya-dee. And that gives a wonderful feeling. It's like dancing, like ballroom dancing. And when you're playing a solo, you're the lead dancer. You are showing, you're guiding. Using your idea of the movement, of the lift, of the spin, of the flow across the floor. That's exactly what's happening here, only we're doing it with sound. And so those are the effects that you want to listen for. Now, what rhythm was I playing when they did the dotted rhythm? That's a good question. Well, it was close to a sextuplet, you know, da-dum, da-dum. It was actually just slightly faster than it. How do I know that? Because I've developed the perceptual skill to feel those really, really fine differences. That's what you want, especially if you're an advanced player. And I got to tell you, I notice even with doctoral students, master's degree candidates, graduate performance certificate candidates, many trumpet players do not have this skill. And it's primarily a listening skill. I hope you're able to get something today from what I'm doing. You'll notice that this is very subtle. Please promise me not to overthink it. This is not about thinking. This is about noticing what works. When you listen to music, you hear a performance and it goes like, and it goes in, not just because of the music itself, but because of the way it is spoken, the way the story is told to you. Listen for the ingredients, listen actively and see if you can hear these things. That's how you're going to grow your playing. The more you get it on the inside, the more it can then come out so that other people can hear what you're trying to do. I think that gives you plenty of stuff to work on, and this will be a recurring theme whenever we're working on solo literature. So use this opportunity to expand your leadership role. Be a leader even when no one is there in terms of how you're playing. A leader, a guide, showing the listener where they're going. That's what you're aiming for here. And that will stimulate the developing of your skills until you can have more and more fun and much better satisfaction, deep satisfaction playing the music. So enjoy your practice, and I will see you in the next installment. Have a good day. Bye-bye.